Hello! So today I'm going to be reading this book called Duck for President, which is by Noreen Cronin and illustrated by Betsy Lewin. And while I read, I'm going to be thinking out loud about some connections that I can think of. Because this book says Duck for President, and right now we are currently in the middle of a presidential election. So it's a very important book to read, and it is important for students to make connections with the text because it activates their background knowledge and helps them better understand the events of the story and thus increase their comprehension as they read. So that is what I'll be modeling today. Let's get started. Running a farm is very hard work. At the end of each day, Farmer Brown is covered from head to toe in hay, horsehair, seeds, sprouts, feathers, filth, mud, muck, and coffee stains. He doesn't smell very good either. The animals have chores to do too. Pigs clean under the beds, cows weed the gardens, sheep sweep the barn, duck take out the trash, mow the lawn, grind coffee beans. So right here with all the animals' jobs, it kind of makes me think about how in our society we all have our own jobs. We all have what we're responsible for as people. So for me as a teacher, it's my responsibility to teach you all. And perhaps at your house you have your own chores that you have to be responsible for too. So this really makes me think of how we as people also have things that we must complete every day as well. At the end of each day, the pigs are covered in lint bunnies, the cows are covered in weeds, the sheep are covered in dust, and duck is covered in tiny bits of grass and espresso beans. Duck did not like to do chores. He did not like picking tiny bits of grass and espresso beans out of his feathers. Why is Farmer Brown in charge anyway, thought Duck. What we need is an election. He made a sign and hung it up in the barn. Farmer Brown must go. Farm election tomorrow. The next morning, Farmer Brown found a poster on his front door. Vote Duck for a kinder, gentler farm. So this really makes me think a lot about how our elections work as well. The one candidate, which is Duck running for president, is saying that he's going to make the farm better. And that's exactly what the presidential candidates tell the people. They both are trying to make the world better for the people living in it. So Farmer Brown and Duck think that they can make the farm the best for the animals living in it. And that's why they have an election, so they can decide who will make it better for them. Farmer Brown was furious. He ran to the barn and found the animals registering to vote. Voter registration. Voters must live on the farm, show valid ID. The mice got together and protested the height requirement, so Duck crossed it off. So originally they were going to have a height requirement, which meant that the mice wouldn't have been able to vote because they were too short. So that's making me think about who can vote in our society and who has been able to vote. Right now, everybody can vote, but in the past it was only white men who owned land, and then eventually African Americans could vote, and then eventually women could vote. But for a while, a lot of people were excluded from the voting, just like these mice were. So I'm glad that the mice got together and said it was unfair, because it is unfair to have not everyone able to vote, just like what happened in our society too. On election day, each of the animals filled out a ballot and placed it in a box. The vote was counted, and the results were posted on the barn wall. Farmer Brown 6, Duck 20. Farmer Brown demanded a recount. One sticky ballot was found stuck to the bottom of a pig. The new tally was Farmer Brown 6, Duck 21. The voters had spoken. Duck was officially in charge. So this is exactly how our elections work. All of the people vote and they put their tallies in, and they get to decide who the next president is. So even though Farmer Brown is angry that he wasn't chosen, because all of the animals had spoken and said that they wanted Duck in charge, Duck became the new president, because the farm is like a democracy, just like what we live in. So the people's vote, the animals' vote, gets to decide who leads them. So I'm going to end the story now, and we'll have to see what happens as Duck continues on with his candidacy for other future roles, but I want us to keep making those connections to how the animals' elections correspond to our elections too in the real world.